All right, you lovely humans, welcome to Know Your Proteins. I hope nobody's thirsty now that we handed out samples. I got started in nutrition because my college girlfriend bought me a weightlifting magazine. I read and reread that magazine until I had it memorized. It taught me the importance of protein. Protein is essential for more than just muscle health. We will discuss that in depth today. The type of protein determines how well it works and how much is needed. Many people waste a great deal of money and energy overeating protein. By the time this class is over, we will have discussed protein types, effects of protein, and which flavor smoothie is your favorite. Okay. Just for the record, the college girlfriend that got me that weightlifting magazine is the same one that I ended up marrying. All right, a couple of popular proteins. First, meats. These protein sources are dependent on hydrochloric acid in the stomach to digest. Where it gets tricky is a person must rest and digest to properly produce stomach acids. All right, quick show of hands. You ever eat in the car? Everybody put your hands up. Don't eat, then try that.
I know.
Okay, that's very good. You ever eat while you're standing on your feet finishing the meal for other people? Okay, you're not really resting, right? You have trouble digesting then. So meats are excellent for you. They provide a lot of nutrition for you. However, we really need to rest in order to properly digest them. So that's their downfall.
We rest after you eat.
Right. And for the average person, it takes 30 minutes to 2 hours to properly produce enough hydrochloric acid to digest meat. So these countries where there's such a thing called a siesta, where they eat and then they sit for an hour or two, very good. Okay. All right, plant source. These protein sources require less hydrochloric acid to digest. I believe this to be a major factor in many people choosing to become vegetarians. The amount of protein retained from these foods is low. So we got pros and cons here. You don't need to rest as much to digest plant source proteins. However, we don't get as much benefit from it. Okay? First example of that is beans. They form a complete protein when they're mixed with rice, and they're very inexpensive. However, the ratios of nutrient within these foods are not optimal for human health or digestion. So again, rice and beans gives you a complete protein. There's no denying that, and you're getting a good complete protein. However, the total value from that, if we compare how many carbs you're getting versus how much protein you're getting, it's hard for me to call this a reliable protein source, because my concern is you're going to get a whole lot of carbohydrate just trying to get adequate protein. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Wild rice any better?
Wild rice is great, but it's still very carb rich compared to how much protein is in it. That's my concern with seeking out beans and rice for protein.
But it's not necessarily better
As far as the protein issue? Right.
um,
Wild rice is not necessarily better enough to overcome the protein versus carb issue. Whey protein. Whey is one of the easiest to find convenience proteins, but it lacks vitamins A, D, E, and K, and good fats, which is needed to actually digest the protein. The ratios of nutrient within whey also decrease thyroid activity, which can lead to body fat gain. Major bummer, because whey protein is very easy to find. You don't have to go to a health food store to find it. You can go to Walmart, you can go to Walgreens for crying out loud. It's all over the place. But it's lacking the proper nutrient for your body to actually use it. That's what I'm saying. If you wanted to make a whey smoothie that was not lacking what's needed in it, you'd have to add 2 or 3 tablespoons of fat to that smoothie, and preferably something living like a fruit or vegetable. Soy protein. Soy is like taking birth control due to its phytoestrogen content. That sounds like I'm exaggerating, but I'm quite serious. It's also difficult to digest, as modern soy products are not properly prepared. Has anybody read how you properly make soy? Does anybody know this? Okay, so it does take a long time. You take a jar like I was pouring tea out of earlier, and you fill it up with the beans, and then you pour water over it and leave it overnight. In the morning, you pour off the water and you put new water on it. You have to do that 4 times. And then you can actually cook it. All right, so the last time somebody in here ate soy, did they start by washing the soybeans for 4 8-hour sessions and then, no, you didn't? Okay. Most companies that are making it and putting it on the shelf in the grocery are not doing that either. So it's not digestible.
What if it's fermented soy?
That's a whole different ballgame. Then they actually prepared it properly. pea protein. This protein is all the rage right now. Naturally, peas do not yield high protein content. What does a company have to do to a pea to get the protein out of it? This reminds me of corn oil. How oily is corn? You ever cook corn on the cob? When you're done cooking it, is it nice and greasy? No. No, so how do they get oil out of the corn? They gotta chemically process. They gotta do all this nightmare stuff to it. Peas do not naturally yield a lot of protein. So what do they have to do to those peas to get the protein out? It's a very unnatural process. Sunflower seed protein is next. This protein is becoming more popular by the day. Unfortunately, it is usually stripped of its fat content when turned into powder. This means it's lacking the fat and soluble nutrients needed to utilize the protein. And that's a bummer because a lot of people are set up to digest sunflower seeds very, very well. But if we buy isolated sunflower seed protein, it's been stripped of the nutrients needed to digest it. So let me make sure I'm really clear the difference here. If you go out and buy sunflower seeds and eat them, you're getting the fat and the protein. If you buy sunflower seed protein, you're not getting the fat either. That's the difference. Yeah, they got a whole bunch of protein in it, yep. All right, questions on the first page? Bonnie already had a good one. All right, we'll keep going. Collagen and gelatin. These proteins are going to be the focus of this workshop. They are easy to digest, complete, and contain the majority of nutrients needed for utilization in the human body. So let's talk about it. Here's some important things to know about bone broth, collagen, and gelatin. The first thing to know is that bone broth is rich in proline. Proline should be classified as an essential amino acid. It's currently not. So you heard it here first. Research shows that blood levels fall by 20 to 30% when individuals in normal health are put on proline-free diets. This suggests that the body can produce proline, but not sufficient qualities without dietary assistance. So here's the big deal. The next paragraph goes into something. Have we all heard of Linus Pauling?
Yes.
Okay. Do we know what he won 2 of? That only one other person in history? Yep. He won 2 Nobel Prizes. There's one other person in the history of the world that's won 2 Nobel Prizes. So he's in pretty elite company. Okay. Yeah.
Why would anyone be put on a proline?
Oh, so proline is naturally very low in a number of plant-based proteins. So people who are switching over to a vegan or vegetarian diet often start to have inadequate proline content in their food. Okay. You can definitely be on a vegan vegetarian diet without messing that up. It just takes a lot of planning. So occasionally the problem is not protein intake, but the body's inability to metabolize proline into the active form called hydroxyproline. Vitamin C's function is to maintain the enzyme that does this. Without the enzyme, the collagen cannot be used. That's the gist of it. So most foods do not have adequate vitamin C to actually allow this to happen. Proline and vitamin C also team up for other vital functions. Linus Pauling and Matthias Rath have said that patients with elevated lipoprotein A levels take a formula consisting of proline, lysine, and vitamin C to reverse artery blocking lipoprotein. So this is a great thing to know, that you can actually take extra levels of vitamin C and a good collagen or gelatin protein, and if you do that once or twice a day, it can help lower elevated cholesterol levels. The next thing, bone broth is rich in glycine. Glycine should also be considered essential. It's the simplest of amino acids and is used in the synthesis of hemoglobin, so that's your blood, creatine, which is your muscle strength, bile salts, which is your ability to digest fats, glutathione, which allows your liver to work, and DNA and RNA, which is why you look like you look. Glycine is involved in glucogenesis, which is the making of sugar. Low levels may produce hypoglycemic-like symptoms. I can't tell you how often clients come in here and they'll tell me, I eat a meal, and within 20 or 30 minutes I start yawning and I'm tired. But I ate a big meal. I can pretty much guarantee their meal did not have adequate levels of glycine in it. Because if you don't have enough glycine when you eat a meal, often the symptoms will be like you didn't have enough food, even if you did eat a high volume of food.
Where else to get glycine besides bone broth?
So bone broth, collagen, and gelatin have it, and then most animal meats have it.
Okay,
Vegetable source proteins have a small amount.
okay.
Good question.
Supplement, yeah, as well, supplements.
Oh yeah, there's glycine supplements available. Yeah. Another vital function is detoxification. That's the removal of junk from your body. The human body requires copious amounts of glycine for detoxification after exposure to chemicals. All right, show of hands if you live within 1 mile of a neighbor. Look at all of you. So why don't you have any country folk here? So the pesticides they commonly spray on lawns and in some parts of parks, that stuff can get carried on the wind well past a mile. Now add to that car exhaust, and even though our office moved out here, which is much nicer, and there's a lot more trees here, there's still plenty of car exhaust in the air, because that stuff can also get carried by the wind. So none of us are free of chemical exposure living in America, unless you're in like northern Idaho. Any northern Idahoans here? No? So, we'd want to get glycine to help our body remove those chemicals. Glycine also helps digestion by enhancing gastric acid secretion. All right, on the first page, what was the problem with eating meat? What do you have to do after you eat meat?
Rest.
Right. We did that so we could produce hydrochloric acid. Glycine helps you produce hydrochloric acid. So here's what I want you to put together. If you have some collagen or gelatin at the same meal that you have meat, the collagen, the gelatin, the bone broth, any of those will help you digest the meat. Anybody deal with indigestion? Kind of sick of it? Have some collagen, gelatin, or bone broth at each meal that you're having meat to help produce that stomach acid.
Are they all in one of those?
Yep, everything that I'm surrounded by, including my tea,
Has collagen, gelatin, and bone broth in it?
has collagen, gelatin, or bone broth.
Or,
Yeah, not all of them have all three.
can you just have bone broth?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we have that here.
No, but I mean, and not have the collagen and the gelatin.
Oh, good news. Bone broth actually has collagen and gelatin.
Okay,
in it.
that, yeah, that's what I think of it, okay.
Beautiful. Let's flip the page. Yeah, Connie. Yeah, Zypan helps stomach acid production, but not via glycine. It's a different way. Children and pregnant women also need large amounts of glycine in the diet. Research indicates that glycine deficiency could limit growth in infants, and stated that the demands of the growing fetus for glycine are very high, both in terms and relative to other amino acids, 2 to 10 times as great on a molar basis. Okay, that's a really fancy way of saying a lot. So when my wife was pregnant with our daughter, first trimester, she had terrible all-day sickness. It wasn't morning sickness, it was all-day sickness. Okay? There were very few foods she could eat, but one of the staples, because I knew this about glycine and I knew she needed adequate protein, was sneaking this stuff, this collagen, into anything she drank. Now, it's a really big deal in the first trimester for the sake of development. It's also a big deal in the third trimester for the sake of keeping that cervix closed so that kid doesn't accidentally come out early or short term. So in the first trimester and the third trimester of Morgan's pregnancy, a whole bunch of collagen was going into pretty much anything that my wife drank. Yeah, Lori.
Did that help with her sickness then?
It
The
was,
collagen?
It was one of, at one point, one of 5 foods that she could eat. So it's not that it resolved the sickness, it just made sure that she didn't get famished.
Ah.
Okay.
How much do you put in, like, on a cup of tea or?
A cup of tea, so I think it says that every 2 tablespoons is 11 grams of protein. So what I usually do when I'm having it in tea with a meal is 2 tablespoons. If I'm having it in the smoothie, and the smoothie is my whole meal, then I'll double that. I'll do 4 tablespoons, because then I'm
Because
getting,
that's what they usually
yeah, with a smoothie I recommend 4 tablespoons of the collagen.
So I'm confused, okay, you have the collagen and,
Gelatin.
gelatin.
Yep.
But if you buy bone broth, you don't have to use that.
Right.
Okay, here's another question, which has nothing to do. If you know all this stuff and did this for your wife,
Yeah.
and OBGYNs do not know,
Yeah.
I assume they do not know what you're saying.
I don't, that's probably like on an individual basis.
Right, but wouldn't it be right for you to be giving talks at the medical college, or do you?
flattered, and I think I should, but I don't.
Not invited?
Yeah, that's like the most politically correct way I can answer that. I've yet to be invited, even though I've helped a number of their patients.
I just think that the OBGYNs should know this, to save their patients
Yeah.
and have good, healthy infants.
Yeah, to have healthy babies, to have good pregnancies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they don't, so.
I'm there with you. All right, questions on the parts we just read?
It's kind of complicated.
A little bit. That's why I wrote it down for you, because there won't be a quiz at the end of the class, don't worry. All right, we'll keep going. All right, gelatin is the traditional way to ensure adequate proline and glycine in the diet. You probably saw that coming, right? Gelatin is especially rich in proline. Gelatin contains about 15 grams of proline for every 100 grams of protein, pure protein. It also has over 27 grams of glycine per 100 grams of pure protein. These ratios are some of the best available out of all protein sources. You can name any protein source, plant-based or animal-based, and gelatin is probably beating them in terms of proline and glycine content. To be really specific, talking about gelatin, not collagen, gelatin. They do have slightly different ratios within. Okay. Does everybody in here have our Jell-O Jiggler recipe? No? Okay, I'm gonna email that to everybody who came to the class today. Because it's a really easy way to get your gelatin in a little sweet treat. It's like a gummy. All right, next. Gelatin then is rich in the proline and glycine components that people need, but weak in methionine, histidine, and tyrosine, and utterly lacking in tryptophan. This is why we do not encourage people to make it their only protein source. I put this in here because you're hearing me really talk about how amazing this is, but it should not be your only protein source, even though it's totally amazing. You have a best friend, great person, should not be the only human you interact with them, okay? I really liked her answer. I said that she went, okay.
Turkey for tryptophan.
Yeah, eat turkey for tryptophan. Yeah. So gelatin plus non-gelatin protein sources equals success. And that's the same thing. Remember, a little bit of bone broth, collagen, or gelatin with a meat-containing meal really makes a huge difference in digesting that meat. One of my secret ways to do this, Thanksgiving's coming up, isn't it?
Yeah.
In my cranberry sauce, my cranberries, I use gelatin to thicken it up. In my gravy, I use gelatin to thicken it up. And then they're eating all that turkey, they're getting their gelatin. They don't have to drink a tea or a smoothie with their Thanksgiving meal, it's in the meal. All right, gelatin and digestion. Gelatin improves digestion because of its ability to normalize cases of both hydrochloric acid deficiencies and excesses. This is likely because of the glycine. Then there's a quote here from a very intelligent man over 100 years ago. Gelatin lines the mucous membrane of the intestinal tract and guards against further injurious action. Now I like that a lot. Have we heard of leaky gut syndrome? Have we heard of Crohn's? Colitis? Diverticulitis, diverticulosis, all that? All right, so what he's talking about there is that gelatin helps people dealing with all of those conditions. Guarantee somebody in your life is dealing with at least one of those conditions. Gelatin. Gelatin in the liver. Early research has also indicated that gelatin helps the liver. This is plausible in that the liver uses the amino acid glycine for detoxification, and its ability to detoxify is limited by the amount of glycine available. All right, now I love to do this, especially since medical doctors already came up in this talk. Here's a quote from a medical doctor. It has been suggested that the administration of extra amounts of proteins containing an abundance of glycine, such as gelatin, will help work in the liver. So this is not some crackpot theory, this is mainstream. Unfortunately, that quote is from decades ago. I seem to have forgotten. Questions on what we just read? Yeah, what are you thinking?
I've been using Knox unflavored gelatin for years, but I would guess that this is probably a better organic or whatever.
It tests better when we test it versus Knox. We've always carried this product, but a lot of people over the years, we would tell them to eat gelatin, and they would go to their store and buy Knox, because it's available, it's inexpensive. they bring it in for testing, and it tests less than half as well as this. So for some people it works, but for less than this. Just to check.
Drew, I haven't used the junk in Orange.
Yeah.
Yet. I've been living on the collagen
Yeah, the green stuff?
and, you know, some of that,
Yeah.
smoothies and soup.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm missing something by not also using,
You said you're using these?
yeah,
Then you're getting some gelatin.
okay.
Yeah. What I do is I have all three of these products that are behind me at home, and I just constantly rotate them, because they all have their own unique benefits. Now what I know is that my daughter prefers gelatin, my wife prefers collagen, and I'm thrilled that they both like one of these products.
Yeah.
So to each their own, but I definitely recommend some degree of rotation, because they each benefit you in their own way. So you buy a tub of this one, and when it runs out, you jump on orange, when that runs out, you jump on green, and then you go back and you try a different flavor over here.
And what do you do with them?
I like to mix them into smoothies, tea, and coffee.
Oh, tea and coffee, that's what you're doing. So, can you put you can't put that in coffee.
Oh yeah, Lori.
Dark chocolate, yummy.
Oh, you do? You put that in coffee?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Oh, yes, I got away from chocolate flavored stevia because of that
'Cause
stuff.
I
And,
don't have a good blender.
well, you gotta get one.
You need to go with the friend who has a Costco membership. Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay,
bullets are great.
yeah, I had one.
there you go.
Okay, so get a bullet, but that, how do you put that in coffee with a bullet?
Yeah.
Not just this
No, we have a stick blender here, and
Why a
we've
stick
done
one?
that, and it's worked.
Oh, no, I have a stick one.
So what I've done is I've taken 8 to 12 ounces of coffee and a scoop of the chocolate, and dropped that stick blender in there.
Yeah.
30 seconds later, you have a chocolate bone broth latte, which is weird to say, but yeah.
So would that blend well with coffee maker?
Yeah,
Would that?
you just drop it right in there.
Right
So that's got
It's
butter in it.
quite the beverage you got going there, that's substantial.
Okay, so tell us that's butter,
Yeah,
coffee, that,
yep.
and what?
And some medium chain triglyceride oil or coconut oil.
Or coconut.
Yeah, very
And
good.
butter too?
Yeah. Is there another hand? Yeah, Laura.
Yeah, I believe it's important to address the mixability of the collagen versus the gelatin.
Oh, sure.
Some people might not know that one is,
So collagen protein will mix into anything hot or cold, and it won't thicken it up. It'll just blend it like with this tea that I was serving. It just remains totally liquid.
and it's tasteless.
Yes. Gelatin will gel up like Jell-O. So whatever you put in, it's going to thicken it. It's going to solidify it slightly, unless you keep it slightly warm, and then it'll just thicken it, and it won't ever solidify. But if you want to make Jell-O or Jell-O jig clears, or the recipe I'm going to send all of you, you use the gelatin because it'll firm up.
Is that the bovine gelatin?
No, that's porcine gelatin. Okay.
I found that the collagen doesn't mix as easily in cold beverages.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It just really, really does.
Yeah, really sure.
Blend it.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
room
I just
temperature
use a
warm is
spoon
easy.
if it's warmer.
Yeah.
What I do is I put a little bit of hot water, just a little bit, and
Oh,
then add
get
ice
it
cubes.
just all
There you go.
then go.
Now you're talking. All right, let's talk the top 6 collagen benefits. I remember after I wrote this class the first time, the other nutritionist here, his name's Jeff, he was handing this out to clients, and the next time I saw him, he came up and he hugged me. And he was like, this page has sold more collagen and gelatin than anything I've ever done.
Oh.
All right, you'll see why at the end of it. First, skin and hair. As we age, collagen production declines, and with it comes looser skin, more wrinkles, and less elasticity. There you go. Increasing collagen levels can help keep your skin look firmer, increase smoothness, and help your skin cells repair. That's no joke.
We look better, really.
There you go. And all of you, just from drinking that little bit of smoothie I gave you, actually already look better. Number 2, joint pains and degeneration. Collagen allows joints to move. A recent study found that collagen is an effective treatment for treating osteoarthritis and other joint pain and disorders.
Oh.
Sounds good. Researchers at Harvard's Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston found that supplementing with type 2 collagen, which is this stuff, helped patients suffering from rheumatoid arthritis find relief from painful symptoms by decreasing swelling in tender joints. That's a Harvard Medical Center. I can't get any more scientific for you than that, okay? This is not an opinion piece. Number 3, heal that leaky gut. The biggest digestive benefit of consuming more collagen is that it helps seal the protective lining of the gastrointestinal tract, that's your guts. A variety of illnesses can be initiated by inflammation in an unhealthy gut. Poor gut health allows food to pass into the bloodstream where an inflammatory cascade can start, hence the name leaky gut syndrome, because it's literally food leaking out of your gut, which is really bad. It's really, really bad. Question?
Can I ask you one?
Please.
No. So when you talk above that, the type 2 collagen,
Yeah.
I don't recall who it was, like on Facebook, Dr. Axe, is it Dr. Axe?
That's one of the guys.
Or one of them that is making their own products now,
Oh,
they
yeah.
have collagen, and it's not McCullough.
It's
It's
Axe.
Axe.
Axe,
Yeah.
okay. So he's got the mixture of collagens,
Yeah.
like, I don't remember the numbers, but
Yeah.
is that a better product than just
Ooh, I
a
like the
number
way.
2?
I think we actually get to that, but
Oh, okay.
in the human body, it's something like more than 90% of the collagen needed is type 1 and 2.
Okay,
So the
you
Axe
don't
product
need-
has 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, and 10, I think.
Okay, yeah.
And that's great.
It's not
There's
necessary.
over 100 types of collagen, and the vast majority is just the first 2 types.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The amount we need.
So the
vast
other's not
majority.
really necessary?
It's not as critical.
Not at all. Sounds
It sure does. Makes it sound good when I can list off 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, and 10 too. Number 4, muscle mass and energy output. A boost in collagen may help increase your metabolism by adding lean muscle mass to your frame. One of glycine's most important roles is helping form muscle tissue by converting sugar into energy that feeds muscles. This means better usage of blood sugar and lower pancreas and liver stress. I used to work for GNC, it was like 11 or 12 years ago, which is really weird for me to think about. And we used to sell a glycine supplement, and every serving of it had 8 grams of glycine. And it was a muscle building supplement, and we sold out of it before every shipment came back. If we got 12 bottles, by the next shipment we had to order 15. If we ordered 15, the next shipment we had to order 18. Fly like hotcakes, because people of all ages would take it, and their muscles would grow. So we had people with muscle wasting disorders, we had people with diseases where they were having trouble eating, we had guys who were just bodybuilders. All of them were taking this glycine supplement, and their muscles were growing.
So will that stuff do that?
It's loaded with glycine.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it you'd be in bone broth too?
Loaded with glycine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Back to joint pains and degeneration, right?
Yeah.
It helps with that?
According to Harvard University.
Not just true.
Not just true.
Really? Drew's not just selling products, it's Harvard.
Yeah, I'm not like, man, Morgan's gonna go to college someday, I better sell some protein stuff.
But really, does it really, have you seen that in people?
Yeah.
Well, it helps with joint pain and osteoarthritis?
Yeah, you're sitting directly in front of one person that helps with joint pain and a diagnosis from a medical doctor of rheumatoid arthritis.
You?
Yeah. We all know this story, right?
I don't,
No?
no, I don't.
People don't know this story. You remember this story. You were there for it. It's my dad.
I saw you were looking at me, I was like.
Monica's like, I forgot
You were
the
there
story.
for it.
I was
It's
there.
amazing.
Yeah, so I was 26. I was working at Langlois in the store, and I went to work on Saturday, and I stood all day, and my knees were a little stiff at the end of the day. Now, in the Detzner family, a lot of people have knee problems, so I figured stiff knees was something I was going to deal with eventually. I took a little bit of an anti-inflammatory that night, didn't think much of it, went to bed, slept normally. Woke up in the morning on Sunday, my knees were still stiff when I was getting ready for church. I went to church. I was having trouble standing up and sitting down at church. After church, we went out to brunch. I almost didn't get out of the car because I was driving, and to bend my leg enough to get it out of the doorbell hurt. I had actually forced my knee to bend by using my arms to pull it, and then drag my other leg out of the car and hobble into brunch. So then I started to slam a bunch of ibuprofen because I just didn't want to mess around with it. All day Sunday it got worse to the point that Monday I walked into work, and I'll mimic how I walked in. It was like this. Because bending my knees wasn't an option. So it was all hips. Does that make sense?
Oh.
Bending my knees more than about 10 degrees caused a lot of pain. Some really severe tightness. Jeff gave me a consult He found a bunch of stuff was going on. I went home from work. I got into my doctor. My doctor referred me to a rheumatologist. And over the next 2 weeks, I tried everything that was thrown at me. From each knee, the first time I saw the rheumatologist, they withdrew 12 ounces of fluid from each knee. That's a soda can from each knee. I saw the guy a week later, he had to do it again. That time the left knee only had 8 ounces, not the full 12. The right knee had 12 ounces again. He gave me hydrocortisone. I got up to 100 milligrams a day, and I thought that stuff was amazing for the first 2 days. My knees felt great. I was fine, I thought. And then on the third day I woke up and I took my dose of hydrocortisone and it did nothing. I went back in to see him. He injected cortisone right into the joints. And for a day I thought it was this miracle cure.
Yeah.
And then on the second day my inflammation was back.
Yeah.
Nothing was touching it. I got to the point after 2 weeks I was talking with Dr. Hari, and he said, well, we have one more drug that we can give you. Here's the risk sheet that goes with it. And I forget the name of the drug now, but it was familiar for some reason. And when I went home and showed it to my wife, who's a nurse practitioner who specializes in cancer, the reason it was familiar is because she uses it with her cancer patients. It was chemotherapy.
I know the name, what is it? A friend of mine took it.
But it causes permanent bone marrow and liver
Yeah,
damage.
a friend of mine took it who had rheumatoid arthritis.
Yeah.
Same one. I don't
So they were telling me at 25 and at 26 that was going to be the deal. That's what I was going to be stuck with.
Did they tell you you had rheumatoid arthritis?
Yeah, that was the official diagnosis, even though, and this is one thing that really bothered me, I had 3 different blood works done in those 2 weeks. They checked me for everything from inflammatory markers to Lyme's disease. My Lyme's marker was yes on the first, no on the second, yes on the third. That's really inconsistent, right? So it ultimately helped my knees heal so I could sit here like this, so I could play with my daughter nowadays. I was balancing my minerals on the hair analysis, and I take one of these every single day. When I travel with one of these. Because I remember what it was like to not be able to walk. Like, we're talking so inflamed that to get to the bathroom when I was at home, I had to roll off the couch because I couldn't stand up, and army crawl, drag myself on my belly to the toilet, and then do a push-up on the side of the bathtub and turn myself over and pee in the bathtub because I couldn't stand in front of the toilet long enough without too much pain coming out. Yeah, like that's how severe, 26.
And you're cured. For what cause?
Oh, a whole lot of stuff. Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff caused that. Yeah, poisons.
This means that countless people with rheumatoid arthritis
Should be supplementing.
could come here. That's what that means, and nobody knows it.
Oh, a lot of people know, you know it.
But no, I mean, but the masses don't know it.
Right.
Those teeming masses out there,
Right.
they don't know this.
Right.
No, because I know people that have rheumatoid arthritis.
So I'll make a deal with you.
Huh,
I'll keep telling 2 dozen people at a time if you start telling one person at a time.
I will,
Okay.
because this is amazing.
And then I want you to do that. And then I want you to do that. You and you and you and you and you and you, okay?
Well, I don't have rheumatoid arthritis, but I can barely get up those stairs.
All right, that's close enough.
And I give it to age.
Yeah.
See,
I'm not gonna
I'm
hold it
like
against you.
old,
I'm not gonna hold it against you.
but I don't have to have that now. I mean, I don't have to, age isn't the reason.
Very good.
So is that just as effective with PRP as it is with rheumatoid?
So I don't have any studies that I put in this handout to confirm that, but I would believe it would be, because the same nutrients that would benefit that fall in line with the rheumatoid arthritis benefit. Does that make sense?
I can really vouch for this too,
Yeah.
because since I've been on that,
Yeah.
everybody says, "Look, and the energy level is very different now.
And which one are you taking?
I'm doing green stuff now, but I also do my own
One brought that gelatin.
It really is.
Thank you for sharing.
Excuse me, that's interesting because it seems that yours also relieves the pain goes down and goes together,
Yeah.
energy and.
Yeah.
They're both.
And I had a bout with that, but shortly after that. It's not perfect, yeah. Nothing is. But it makes
So for, gotcha, for fingernails, the gelatin more than the collagen. Absolutely.
So how about with toenails?
Yeah.
Why do with the elderly they think under successful age?
Oh, that's a different thing.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's like it's a whole different class.
Okay, well, we'll do that.
We will. All right, on to number 5. It improves liver health. To detox harmful substances, improve blood flow, and keep the heart strong, collagen is extremely helpful. That's because glycine helps minimize damage your liver experiences when it cleans out toxins. So again, if you come in here and I tell you liver is your priority, or that you need to do some liver work, you have a history of liver problems, just start supplementing with some collagen. Number 6, protects cardiovascular health. The amino acid proline helps your artery walls release fat. Proline is needed for tissue repair within the joints and arteries. As part of the collagen found within joints, it buffers our bodies from the effects of vibration or shock and helps protect cartilage as we age. Okay. For joint health, I recommend the gelatin over the collagen.
But we can get it in that start. Okay, because if we can't afford to buy all of it, start there, right?
Got it. Questions or other questions, I should say, on those 6, Connie? Okay. When it comes to you, ask.
Should we just continue to do
Or, yeah? Yeah, that's unrelated to this. She asked if you should keep taking Spanish black radish, my personal
for the
opinion.
liver, isn't it? I think the liver.
Yeah, among other things.
Oh,
Yeah.
what is that liver?
Oh, that's a whole other class.
That's the longest story.
Yeah, that's my, Spanish black radish is my favorite supplement. If you want to hear about Spanish black radish, you gotta buy me a 3-course dinner.
And it tastes terrible, you like it.
Love it.
Oh.
Yeah, see? Show of hands if you like Spanish black radish.
Oh,
Thank
no.
you. All right, back to this. Collagen facts. There are at least 100 types of collagen. That's why Dr. Axe, kudos, he makes some good stuff. We're just talking about 4 or 5 of them. There's over 100. The vast majority of the collagen in the human body, between 80% and 90%, consists of types 1, 2, and 3. Type 1 collagen accounts for approximately 90% of the collagen in the human body. So no, it's not the whole kit and caboodle, but it is the vast majority. The types of collagen. This is a fun thing to know. Type 1, it's the most abundant, strongest type of collagen found in the body, and it's what makes your tendons, your ligaments, your organs, and your skin. So when I was talking about wrinkles and elasticity of skin, we're talking about the green stuff here. Okay. This is anti-wrinkle.
But it says it's made of fibers. There's fibers in there?
Nope.
Oh,
So fibers is like a generic term, not like fiber like psyllium muscle.
okay, I got it.
Fiber like this shirt is cotton fiber.
Okay.
Yeah, that couch is polyester fiber.
Yeah.
Type 2 collagen primarily helps build cartilage, which is found in connective tissues. The health of our joints relies on cartilage made up of type 2 collagen. So I was just saying, this one is what I recommend for joint health.
Can you get that in the bowling show?
It's in there.
Okay.
How much a day?
4 tablespoons. Type 3 collagen is a component of the extracellular matrix that makes up our organs and skin. And that's a really fancy word for saying the stuff between the little parts of our body. Okay? It's usually found with type 1. It helps give the skin its elasticity and firmness. It also forms blood vessels and tissues within the heart. The best source for type 3 collagen is bone broth. Type 4 collagen forms endothelial cells that surround organs, muscles, fat, and they line the majority of our digestive organs and respiratory surfaces. The best source of type 4 is bone broth. So if you have a respiratory infection, there's actually a type of collagen that will help your body get over that infection. Drink bone broth. Type 5. It's needed to make the surface of cells, your hair strands, and the tissue found in placentas. The best source of it is bone broth. And type 10. It helps with new bone formation. Anybody concerned about osteoporosis or osteopenia? Yeah. It's involved in the process of how bone tissue is created in mammals, and the best source is in, you got it. So guess what I think you should eat every day?
Bone broth.
Thank you. Question on the collagen facts.
Do you do too much of it?
It's very difficult to do too much of it. To give you some idea, you'd have to get into the range of like 12 tablespoons a day. That's a lot. It's a lot.
I think we've all heard that when you're sick, they recommend drinking chicken broth or chicken soup or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But let's face it, the sad part about that is that chicken broth out in the general market is not what that is on the shelf.
Correct.
And that's really sad.
Yeah, we have to be really specific when we tell somebody that chicken soup helps their cold.
Mm-hmm.
We can't just say chicken soup, and we can't just say chicken broth. We need to say chicken bone broth. It was even better. Because technically chicken broth is you take any part of a chicken and you mix it with hot water. Technically and legally you can call that chicken broth.
Yeah.
But that might not have any medicinal benefit, any collagen whatsoever.
That's what they lead you to believe, right?
Is that like, yeah,
Isn't
all
it?
chicken soup is the same?
Yeah.
Let's flip that page. All right, some bone broth meal recipes. So I got these 3 flavors up here, and Wendy's going home with one of them. So Wendy, you're gonna have to tell us what you're doing with this when you go home, okay? The first one I'm gonna talk about is the savory herb flavor. This flavor instantly became my #1 weight loss flavor. Drink the following combination for dinner. A scoop of this, mix it in a blender with 1 to 2 cups of steamed or sauteed veggies and 12 ounces of warm water. This recipe sets up your body for major fat utilization while you sleep. So I have a bunch of clients who do this. They take this and the veggies, they throw it in a blender, it's nice and warm, they eat it like a soup, totally satisfied, and then they fast for 12 to 14 hours. They're asleep for 8 or 9 of those hours anyways. And all of them come in and they're like, I lost another pound this week, but I'm still not working out. And it's because they're doing fasting in the right way. A really ideal supper, and then allowing your body 12 to 14 hours before they eat it.
So, speaking of it,
Yeah.
they would have that soup late in the day or for supper.
Yeah, for supper.
Okay. And then that, say they eat at 8 the next morning or whatever, and then that is long enough?
That was a 14-hour fast if they ate supper at 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great.
So even a 12-hour would,
That has benefits too.
okay.
Yeah. Good question. Are people's wheels turning like, how many times a week am I going to have that savory herb protein? Yeah, well,
So if you wanna buy the smaller packets to try them,
that's why we have them.
with the big ones, you get the scoop, how much is in the scoop, like is that a
1 packet's
tablespoon?
worth. No.
Or it's 1 packet worth?
Yeah. So then you can get an idea of what it's actually going to be like. Just tear open the packet, dump it in, and that's the equivalent of 1 scoop that comes out of these.
Why is that one bigger?
Because this was when they used to have, okay, so quick history lesson. The company is called Ancient Nutrition, and they have an organic line, and they have a non-organic line. And the organic line tests very well, and the non-organic line was third-party tested, and they found lead and other metals and chemicals in it, because it wasn't from healthy animals. So they had one size container, because to make it organic was more expensive. So the non-organic fills up this container, but the organic only comes up to about there, which is the height of this one. So eventually his company grew enough that he can make a new size container.
I see, so they're the same.
Yeah, and just
Okay.
different flavors.
No, I mean, they're the same one, the container and that one's bigger, but it's the same.
Same amount.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got you, okay.
Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
Chocolate is the next one, and this flavor is a breakfast favorite of many of my clients already. Chocolate naturally has nutrients in it that boost mood, energy, and suppress appetite, so who wouldn't want to start the day that way?
Really?
Um,
That's magic.
2 really great stories about this very product right here. The first one is a young boy named Calvin. His mother was having a terrible time. I met Calvin when he was less than a year old. Calvin would only eat breast milk straight from mom, not even from a bottle. Okay. Yeah, big time poor mom. She was super sleep deprived. She had to go back to work. It was just a nightmare. One daycare kicked him out because he would just fuss and scream all day because he wouldn't eat from a bottle. He'd only take milk straight from mom. So we did a hair analysis on him, we got a handle on what's going on, and then we introduced this to him right at about a year old. To this day, when that was like a year and a half ago, he asks for this by name now, and he will eat it every single day, and Mom is thrilled because that was a big part of getting him to transition away from breast milk. She said that the first time that she cried tears of joy in all of Calvin's life was the first day she said, "Calvin, are you ready to feed?" And he went, "Mama, chocolate drink." Meaning chocolate drink. She was like, "You got it." Like, no problem, Mama. Second really cute story about this, I mix this with hot water in the wintertime after Morgan and I go sledding. I'm not gonna give her hot cocoa, it's just a bunch of sugar and poison, right? We give her some of this. We were just running around in snow that at the time came up above her knees. She needs protein, not sugar.
Is that dark chocolate, like 70%?
It's dark.
It is not.
It's dark, yeah. Yeah.
So what are some other breakfast ideas?
Okay.
It's a breakfast favorite.
Yeah, because people like to mix cherries in with it. They like to mix strawberry in with it. Some people like to throw a tablespoon or two of almond butter or coconut oil in there, because then you got, chocolate coconut. Some of my clients with really nice blenders throw the macadamia nuts that we have here. Chocolate macadamia for breakfast, and it's healthy. Like, we're not poisoning you for
It's like
breakfast.
that and water and that, that's it.
Throw it in a blender. Blend it up. Chocolate peanut butter is another option. One client, he works, his job is to replace light poles when they get damaged on the highway. His favorite thing to do is to make this big mix, which is 2 scoops of this, a banana, a handful of macadamia nuts, and there's something else. And it turns out to be about 1,000 calories. And he's like, we don't get to stop for lunch. So I drink that, and then I'm good until supper time. Cool.
Drew, there's no sweetener in that chocolate?
There it is.
There's maybe honey or something?
I think it's stevia. They got chocolate, they got maple, yeah, stevia, and organic monk fruit extract, which is just a super sweet fruit.
So stevia is okay?
Yeah, stevia will still, when it hits your taste bud, it's very sweet, and it'll get your body thinking that it's eating something with a lot of sugar in it. But then when the sugar doesn't come down the pipeline, the body calms down. The only people that I tell to avoid stevia are people with severe liver issues.
Otherwise,
Yeah, otherwise it's a really good option.
I think, oh, and I'm sorry to keep on this, but just to finish it,
Yeah.
the stevia in the stores, I mean, I used to buy it, and then you said it's not really good unless it's the green leaves.
You're talking about the bleached stevia.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
stevia got really popular, and then a bunch of companies made a junk version of it. That's not this.
Okay.
Yeah, they're using real stevia.
But we really can't find the good stuff. I've never seen.
I buy it all the time at Walmart.
It's the brand is Sweet Leaf Organic,
Sweet leaf,
Yep.
okay.
and it tests well. All right, the third flavor is vanilla. This flavor is for the fruit lovers out there. It has a lighter taste than the others. This means the fruit lovers get to taste the fruit. So what I served you before the class was this product mixed with some organic tart cherries and water and a few dashes of sea salt, just to keep it cold. It's really easy to do. All of these breakfast ideas take less than a minute. And if you've been in my breakfast class, I talk about smoothies all the time because it's really easy to put something in a blender and then pour out your smoothie. And then cleanup is a snap too. I don't know if you all know this already. It's the same thing with the Magic Bullet.
Yes, very easy.
It's very easy. You put a squirt of your dish detergent in there with hot water, and then you blend it again. It's clean.
Oh, but you rinse it then.
Oh yeah, you rinse it, but
Yeah.
it's clean.
Really?
It's easy. It's easy. All right, Wendy, I'm gonna put you on the spot now. We told you that you're gonna get a free container because you won the raffle. What flavor are you feeling?
I'll probably go with the savory,
Well
because
done.
I would add it to a soup, right? I can do that.
Yeah,
so
Wonderful.
that's what I'll go with, yeah.
All right, we'll send you home with that.
Not just because the container's big, because now I know that means nothing.
It means nothing. Well done.
So thank you very much.
You're very
Thank you.
welcome. Thanks for coming.
Oh,
How many tablespoons are in
Oh, I don't know. I can find out. Each scoop is 46 grams, which means it's slightly less than 4 tablespoons. which means, just so we're doing the math together, 4 tablespoons of either one of these is the equivalent of 1 scoop from any of these, or 1 packet. Okay. Other questions that are bubbling up?
Do they have small packets of the savory?
Yes, we do. So you
I'd
try
like
it.
to try it, yeah.
Yeah, the options in the packets that we have, there's peanut butter, savory herb, turmeric spice, which is probably my favorite, cafe mocha, which has a little bit of caffeine in it, so if you want your boost, French vanilla, and nitro beet. Nitro beet is also very good if you're mixing it with veggie soup.
No chocolate, no chocolate.
No chocolate in the packet, because it's delicious enough, you're gonna like it. Yeah.
Does the chocolate protein meal, I think that's that one, that we've been talking about, right?
Yep.
Wouldn't that have caffeine in it too?
Oh, trace amount, not compared to the coffee flavor. The coffee flavor has about 10 times the caffeine that this has.
Okay.
1 packet of the cafe mocha has slightly less caffeine than a cup of coffee. This has about a 10th of that.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so
So just because it's good chocolate doesn't mean it's
high
loaded
caffeine.
with caffeine.
Right.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Do you have decaf?
Oh, my cafe mocha decaf? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Other questions that are coming up?
So do you use that often as a complete breakfast then? Or do you
Yeah, not
do
just,
it in addition to your?
oh, so if I'm gonna, well, I'll give you an example. My wife makes these out of this world grain-free pancakes. They're just amazing. Totally
Grain-free.
grain-free. Just
Grain-free.
totally amazing. She uses coconut flour and almonds. Really
Oh,
good.
those are the rest.
Really good.
What we make.
So what I do on those mornings, she makes some like silver dollar size. I blend this up really thick, and I dip the pancake in it.
Oh.
And it's like a chocolate cookie. Seriously, freaking amazing. It's totally incredible. So in that scenario, yes, I have more than, but if I was sitting down to bacon and eggs, I'd forego that. I'd have that later in the day, or I'd have that in my coffee or tea with that.
Would she share her recipe?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, could you email us?
The recipe, the same thing?
Yes,
Jello and
because I'm
pancakes, yeah.
gluten-free, so I would like that grain-free.
Yeah, sure. Lord.
I don't know if I missed this, but there's the 3 on the right that are protein meal versus the other 2 that
Yeah.
are just protein. Was that covered as far as protein content is different?
Yeah, I can go over that. The protein content is the same. When you see the word meal on the container, that means they added some extra fiber and some extra fat. It stays with you longer that way.
So it's like a meal replacement in that
Yeah,
case,
it's closer
right?
to that, yeah.
So you could have that for breakfast more, so
Yeah.
like mix it with strawberries.
And
or
it'll-
something,
it'll-
so enhance enough.
It'll keep
For
you
breakfast.
longer, because that's just straight protein. It doesn't have much fat in it. Yeah. So it doesn't like stick, it doesn't stay.
I make this, Fred makes some of those pancakes, with blueberries in it. I was the other
So, to do.
And banana.
Oh, I can't have bananas, but I can have blueberries.
Yeah. Right?
Have you changed your
I love that question. Did we all hear that?
Now, what is it about banana?
Drew, have you changed your mind about bananas at all? All right, again, the problem with bananas
Yeah.
is not how delicious they are or how sweet they are, because we all know they're plenty sweet.
Yeah.
Most of us think delicious. No, the problem is not the sugar.
Oh.
The problem is that bananas grow in parts of the world where they have to be harvested before their life cycle is complete on the tree. So it's not truly ready for us to eat yet. That's the problem.
But they ripen in the store.
Yes, but ripening off of the tree is not the way to ripen a banana. So when you are in Costa Rica, have bananas. Go banana crazy.
Really?
Totally nuts, because the guy is climbing up the tree down the beach to hack them off and serve them to you.
What does it mean if you buy bananas that ripen later? Why is that not a good thing?
Because their life cycle wasn't complete on the tree.
So,
You know, I get a complete benefit.
Right. So the banana needs to be attached to the tree. I'll give you an analogy. It's like when a baby is born at 6 months. Yes, it's still alive, but its development was not complete. Does that make sense?
it does, but it's kind of extreme comparing that to a banana.
It's both the product of a living
I
organism with an
see.
incomplete life
So
cycle.
you're not getting the nutrition from the banana?
Right, unless you're in Costa Rica and the
Oh,
guy's climbing up the tree.
unfortunate.
Seriously, because it comes with its own wrapper and everything. See, it depends on where they're making it. The question was dried bananas, or like banana chips. If they are harvesting in Costa Rica, where it's grown, or wherever it's
From
grown,
the explanation.
full life cycle, full maturation cycle, I should say, and then chopping and dehydrating it, we're good. Yeah, but if it's, it'll say it on, grown, harvested, produced.
Oh, I never will either.
All right, so you have all asked some wonderful questions today. Thank you for coming. I'd like to do something special. Wasn't planning on doing this, but Muriel planted the seed at the start of class. We're gonna draw another name. Sorry, Wendy, you're not gonna win again. But you're gonna not Wendy. Wendy only won $60. That's all you get tonight. Whoever wins this one gets to choose between a container of the gelatin or the collagen. I want you to draw. If you draw your own name, I'm probably still gonna give it to you.
Happy birthday.
Muriel?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday! Muriel's the winner.
I
Which
want
one?
the gelatin.
Gelatin, you got it.
I was gonna buy it today and play.
Well, there you go. Save your money. Thank you all for coming. Go out and do some good upon the world.
Thank you.